afternoon, everybody, or good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in on today's webinar, which is Wine and Spirits NFT. So Satoshi Women, to those who are not familiar with us yet, we are a community that advocates crypto literacy for women through education, access, and inspiration. So today we're honored to have our guest presenters to talk about Wine and Spirits NFT. So they are from a community in the Web3 ecosystem called Farandole. So Farandole also is a marketplace for NFTs pegged to physical and virtual wine and spirit products. So with us today, we have Tobias Wolford, the CFO at Farandole, and of course, Marina Misiska, the Chief Business Officer for Farandole as well. So I'll give the virtual floor to these two lovely people and to talk more about them. Oh, before that, I'm going to pass it on the mic to my partner, Vivian Koo, to just give you a little bit of disclaimer. We do this every sessions that we conduct within Satoshi Women. Viv?
Yeah, well, it's just and it is my piece of it, and we do it at every session. So as Linde mentioned, so this is purely for education, so not providing any recommendation, advice, or specifically marketing anything. So just want to put that up front, but I don't think there's anything in here tonight that really relates to marketing of products. So excited to have, the two of probably very well educated and very knowledgeable guests that we have, and to bring us through the session. And hopefully we'll have a lot of time at the end for Q&A. So I'll pass it over, Marina and team.
Yeah. And sorry, again, one second. If you have any questions, feel free to write it anytime on the chat box. And then once the session finishes, which is about half an hour, feel free to virtually raise your hand or physically raise your hand if you want to ask a question live. So, okay, I'll hand it over finally.
Thank you so much. So let me just start sharing the screen here. There we go. Can everyone see the screen? Perfect. Yes, hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Marina, and as we just heard here in the introduction, I'm the CBO of Farandole. So I handle business development and partnerships for the company. And prior to Farandole, I had a quick career in the iGaming industry before moving over to wine and spirits, which is where I've been spending most of my career, mostly on the brand side. So for quite a few years, I was employed by Pernod Ricard, which is one of the larger distribution companies, and managed brands such as Absolut Vodka, Mumm Champagne, and so on and so forth. And for this company, I was stationed both in Italy and later on in Sweden. And in 2019, I moved to Hong Kong and worked as a spirits consultant for brands that wanted to set up their route market in Asia. And this was a very exciting job, but I was lacking a bit of innovation in the wine and spirits industry, and therefore decided to leave it in October last year because I wanted to get into tech. But by coincidence and through mutual contacts, I was introduced to the founder of Farandole that told me about this project and how it can really help innovate the industry that I'm so passionate about. So I'm very happy to be here today to present to you what we do at Farandole, but also how we can leverage NFTs to really help the space innovate. Over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Toby. First up, thank you for the privilege to join this call. I think what you're doing with Satoshi Women is a great initiative, so keep it up with that. My background is in banking. That was what I was doing for the last 10 years, working for an investment bank in Switzerland and in Singapore and Hong Kong. And we built up a fintech in that space. I've always, though, been very passionate about wine and have been collecting wine. I also have a sommelier education. I also teach wine courses. So I always wanted to find a project where I can basically combine all my passions together. And with Farandole, when we all met like towards fall last year, we thought that's a great thing to work on that together with our different backgrounds.
Right. And before we go on, don't forget to follow us on our social media channels to stay tuned on our upcoming and exciting collaborations that we will tell you more about towards the end of the presentation. So today we will talk about what NFTs are, what kind of different NFTs there are, and also how we can link that to physical assets. So let's take it for the top just to make sure that we are all on the same page. So an NFT stands for a non-fungible token, which is essentially a smart contract that shows you the proof of ownership as well as the authenticity of the NFT. And this piece of information is a bit of code that is stored on the blockchain. And the reason why we use the blockchain is because it's tamper-proof and it ensures that the NFT is safely stored and cannot be compromised. It also enables us to track the ownership of the NFTs through historical data. So looking at the different tokens that there are, so there are fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. So looking at Bitcoin as an example, this is a token that can be seen as fungible because one equals the other one. However, when we look at non-fungible tokens, for example, in this case, the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, or the Bored Ape, as they're also known as, one cannot be traded for another one because they might be priced at different pricing. So this is why it's called a non-fungible token. When looking at NFTs and the reason what they got so hyped, I think it's great to look at just the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is essentially 10,000 NFTs in a collection that were randomly generated through either the ape's shirts, eyes, or mouths. And by holding an NFT from this collection, not only did you have a nice NFT that you could use as your profile picture if you wished, it also enabled you to get the IP rights, which means that you could use your NFT to print it on, for example, merch. You could do a spin-off collection through a muted ape, or you could even rent it out and earn some money on it. But what really made this collection super successful is that they created this community and a membership club of owning one of these apes that allowed you to attend, for example, physical and exclusive virtual events. And what really made this even more special is that along the line, they decided to create an even bigger space for this community that released ApeCoin, which could be used for trading, and also now most recently the other side, which is their own very own metaverse. And just to give you an idea of how this metaverse and the success of it, when the project was launched, $180 million were spent only on gas fees, which could be translated into transaction fees. So people were like they were ready to pay a lot of money just to get access to this very exclusive launch. And as you can see here, the average price for a Bored Ape is a very high amount of money. And recently, a lot of celebrities have joined this very exclusive product, which has also caused the price to increase.
Yes, so if we look a bit at the market of NFTs, if we go back in not so far history, actually 2020, there was not even any market for NFTs. The trading volumes were like non-existent. And it's really a phenomenon which started last year, 2021, where basically you had several high-profile NFT sales started initially people, which was an NFT which was sold for a double-digit million amount, which basically helped all this NFT market to the attention of many people. And you can see that especially in the second half of last year, the transaction volume.
Sorry, can I just interrupt for a second? We're seeing the notes version, so we're seeing your notes, and the content is quite small. Is it possible to have the presenter version?
Of course.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So also you can see that besides the collections, also many brands have started to buy into the NFT space, especially Nike, Adidas,
Okay.
to invest.
Can anybody who's not speaking put themselves on mute, please? There's a lot of background noise. Thank you.
So yeah, for Nike, for example, they bought a company which was very active already in NFTs. So they just bought the whole company. Adidas is very active doing collaborations with different collections. And you also see lots of celebrities who are using NFTs as status symbol, buying Bored Apes and other NFTs to like showcase on their profiles, etc. Now, the question might come up, okay, if I want an NFT, where can I actually buy an NFT? So, I mean, there are many options for that. There are different kinds of marketplaces. Most famous marketplace is probably OpenSea, that maybe many of you have already heard about. That's like the by far biggest place where you can purchase NFTs at the moment. So we call these kind of marketplace open marketplaces because you can find a wide variety of all kinds of different NFT projects on there. Besides that, you have more curated marketplaces, which are focusing on specific topics like art, for example, or like us, which focusing on wine and spirits. Then you have like collectible marketplaces where you sell, especially like sports collectibles, like this NBA marketplace that they launched as well last year. Besides that, you have also another category, which is more the in-game game marketplaces. So you have many online games that people are playing, and you can buy NFTs with like equipment, items you can use in the game. And that's also a very popular segment of the market. And the most famous game there is Axie Infinity. It's like the most has the highest, let's say, transaction volume for in-game NFTs. Now, which kind of blockchains are used to do NFTs? Obviously, Ethereum is like the major or the most high-profile name out there, which is used for most of the collections. But obviously, as you all know, with Ethereum, there are some issues given that it's due to its popularity on the transaction volumes, the costs have increased significantly. Energy usage is very high, especially due to the proof of work concept that it's operating on. You have some other blockchains which are also linked to the Ethereum space, which is Polygon or Avalanche, which we are using for our platform, or Binance Smart Chain. And then you have some other layer one blockchains like Solana and Tezos, which have also started to become more popular for the use of NFTs.
So if you look at the different NFTs that there are, could you take us through that, Toby?
Yeah, so it's a bit linked to what we discussed before. Obviously, there are different kinds of NFTs that people can use. Most people know, obviously, are the digital profile picture NFTs. That's what most people know about, like the Bored Apes or CryptoPunks. But there are other elements of NFTs as well. So they are used, as I mentioned before, for gaming, to buy items there. You can use NFTs to basically versions of actual artworks. You can have real world assets like we are doing, like taking wine and creating an NFT, a digital representation of that asset. Another element which has gained a lot of traction recently is music NFTs. So a lot of artists are now using this concept of engaging more closely with their fan community, giving out NFTs, which basically give access to exclusive concerts or some kind of participation in the songs that they are releasing. You also have another area which is kind of a different segment, which is more tech focused. You can create NFTs, for example, for domain names, which is especially popular at the moment in the Ethereum space. And you can use NFTs just for basic ticketing, access to events through ownership if you hold a certain NFT.
So if we look at an example of an NFT that is tied to a real world asset, we can see this beautiful collection made by Dolce & Gabbana. So these items that were released had both a physical item as well as a virtual NFT piece attached to it. So the collection consisted of beautiful garments that were women's clothes, men's clothes, and also jewelry, which you can see here on the left-hand side. In this case, a very beautiful created crown. And I believe that the price of this collection was so high because it was made by the people that are behind Dolce & Gabbana. So Dolce & Gabbana was part of designing these very beautiful items. And if you're somewhat familiar with what the Ethereum price is, you are able to calculate quite quickly that, for example, the crown here to the left-hand side went for a ridiculous amount of money. Unfortunately, nothing that I could buy for myself. So we're talking more or less around the areas of $1.2 million US for the crown here, which is again, beautiful design. So why should we create NFTs for physical assets? Well, as we mentioned before, you have the authenticity and the proof of ownership that comes with an NFT when you tie it to a real world asset. It also enables for efficiency. So if you were to sell a product on the secondary market, you already have all of these certificates programmed into the NFT, which makes the trade much easier. Today, if you would like to sell one of your wine bottles on through an auction house, the process will be very long and very time consuming. And the fees that the auction house would take to sell your wine would also be very high. So through the Farandole marketplace, if you buy a piece of wine or, for example, a wine bottle, you will not only have to pay lower fees when you sell it on the secondary market, it also is a much faster process. It also enables other users to get access to these very rare and nice items. For example, when it comes to both wine and spirits products that are quite rare, because today when you would try to get your hands on this, it's not always that you will be able to do so. It requires that you would have the right connections to actually know when these exclusive releases will take place, which is something that we really want to change with Farandole and make it accessible for a larger group of people. And as said before with the Bored Ape Yacht Club example, what we really can do with NFTs is not only to ensure the authenticity and the ownership, but we can also add other special perks to the NFTs, such as, for example, a free dinner or a discount code for an upcoming release. So what the NFTs really does is to create something beyond just buying a very nice rare bottle of wine. And I assume that some of you would be interested to know how the virtual NFT is connected to the physical bottle. So as you can see here on the right-hand side, you can use a NFC chip. So if someone would try to open the bottle, it will send out a signal to the blockchain that the product has been compromised. So also what the NFTs can help out with is to tackle the counterfeit issues that the industry has to deal with today, as well as thefts. All right, so let's take an example from the wine and spirits industry.
Yeah, so I mean, as a brief introduction, we just wanted to show that this market is actually a very interesting market. It's a large market with, let's say, close to 500 billion volume overall. And as an asset class, wine and spirits are also an interesting asset because they are very stable. They are not correlated to like existing stock markets, for example. They typically give you a stable return over the long term. So that's why it can be interesting for people to diversify their investments as well into this space.
So if you look at what's happening in the wine and spirits space now, we can see that some of the big brands are really trying to see how they can use NFTs to activate their community. And if we look at the discussion that we had with wineries 6 months ago, they were not really interested. They were a bit skeptical when it came to NFTs, but now just 6 months down the line, they understand that there are so many possibilities with the space and they are really eager to get going. So if we look at what some of the bigger brands have done, as an example, Dom Perignon, what they did is that they released a specially curated NFT that consists of a virtual asset as well as the physical product. And before you bought this NFT, you could enter their type of metaverse to view the product and experience what it would look like in real life. Another example is an NFT dining experience from a restaurant group in Hong Kong, where the dining experience will be auctioned out and later on can be used to be consumed in the actual restaurant. So as you can see, a lot of activations going on and more to come. And we really think that 2022 is going to be the year when physical assets and NFTs are really being gathered together. We couldn't leave you today without discussing about the metaverse, which is also a place where you can really build your community and connect with the end consumer. So what you see here on this picture is a pop-up that Absolute Vodka created in relation to the Coachella Festival. So they created this mini Coachella where people could enter with their avatars and mix drinks, take selfies, enter competitions, and so on. So really what we should see the metaverse is maybe not something that will replace our physical lives, but an opportunity to really connect and build loyal brand customers. Here you can, for example, educate them about the products that you want to sell, but there are many brands that are also looking into adding this gamification angle to it, where you would collect points that you could, for example, later on use on a platform to get a discounted price on a product.
Okay, so a little bit about our platform. So obviously, as we talked about before, we have a marketplace. That's like one element of our platform. There you can buy and sell NFTs, but that's just one element of what we are doing. We are also helping brands in general enter this Web3 world. So many brands out there, they are interested in this topic, but they are not sure how to engage with this community, what kind of activities to do, either on the blockchain or in the metaverse. So we are helping these brands navigate this space. Besides that, we are also offering asset management. So if you don't know what kind of wines to buy, we can basically manage the portfolio for you. We will also take care for brands about the whole community management. So we do membership clubs for brands that they can engage with their client base in the digital world. For the products on our marketplace, we have also developed a tamper-proof supply chain solution where the physical asset is directly linked to the NFT. And we can basically trace the whole activity that is happening with the bottle. So you know where it is stored, how many owners it had before. And as the last element, we are also working on tokenization and DeFi in the context of wine and spirits, which might sound strange for you, what DeFi has to do with wines, but there is a link because actually it's an asset. And this asset has value, and you can use this value ideally as well throughout the whole ecosystem, also on other platforms. And on the tokenization side, we are looking at innovative concepts where we can, for example, take real life assets like a vineyard and tokenize it and make it accessible to own a certain piece of vineyard, even for a small amount of money. And I think through the blockchain, you have many of these kind of innovative use cases that are made possible and give new ways to the consumer to participate in this market, and as well for the brands to engage with their customers. This is like another element which we just wanted to highlight, that with our platform, we're not just targeting crypto people, right, which have a wallet. Because if what you see here, this is actually just a smaller amount of the potential user base that you could target. So we really want to reduce the barriers of entry for people who are interested in buying NFTs. So that's why we also have included on our platform the option to buy the NFTs just with the credit card. You don't need a wallet before. You just enter your credit card details, your wallet is automatically created, and you can get the NFT into your wallet.
And now to the exciting part. So we have two very exciting collaborations coming up in the month of May. The first one being with Toki Clocher, which is the second largest wine auction in France. And through this collaboration, we have selected some special items that will be made into NFTs on our platform. And of course, these NFTs will result in exclusive membership cards as well, that the winners of the auction can use later on to access exclusive product drops, but also physical and virtual events that we will be hosting. This event is really something that has been going on for a long time. This is the 31st edition of this type of auction. And what will be auctioned out is wine barrels, as well as Methuselah bottles, which are 6-liter wine bottles that we will show on the next page with a very beautiful design. And this event is quite known in France, especially. And we're very lucky to be able to connect with Michelin star chefs as Glenville, that you can see here on the picture, that will be hosting and making the food for the gala dinner of this auction. And also very many special sommeliers that are very known in the wine and spirits community. And the second collaboration is with a very known wine merchant from Bordeaux called Maison Boet. And together with them, we will be releasing en primeur wines, which means that the wine is still in barrel from 15 top Bordeaux chateaus that will be bottled 2 years down the line. And the reason why the en primeur wines are so exciting to buy is that they usually increase a lot in value just 3 months down the line from them being released. So throughout the month of May and also to June, we will be releasing around 5 chateaux per week. So this is really a big wine event that takes place every year, and everyone's always speculating in what the wines are going to taste like, what their development process is going to be for the future, and how long you could age them, as well as the price. So this is an event that you definitely don't want to miss, and something that you should keep your eye open for on our platform. And of course, there will be an opportunity to pre-register to get the early access to these different releases. So as mentioned before, through the auction that we will partake in, these are the Methuselah bottles that have this specially beautiful design by Marc Galliette. So we have this very nice pearl cape that will prove these 6-liter wine bottles. And this is what it would look like on our marketplace once the NFT is live there. So with all this said, NFTs can come in many different shapes and forms. And I guess it's up to you to decide if you want it to be connected to a physical asset that you could later on consume down the line. And last but not least, please make sure to follow us to stay updated on the latest products drops that we will soon be announcing on our social media channels. Thank you.
Amazing. That was a great presentation, Tobias and Marina. Thanks for doing that for us. Now, we obviously would like to open the virtual floor to anyone who wants to ask any questions. If you want, you can raise your hand physically or virtually, and then we can sort of like turn on the video and you can ask live. If you're feeling a little bit shy, then please feel free to type in your questions here. I have a question though. who are your main competitors in the market? Because obviously, I think you're operating in a very niche space, right? So I was just kind of wondering what sort of like volume you're seeing at the moment, if it wasn't mentioned earlier in terms of, you know, again, the activities within like wine and spirits NFTs.
Yes, sure. There are some players that have been popping up quite frequently for the last 6 months or so in the Web3 space. What differentiates us with them is that we have a larger product offering. So we offer everything from existing bottles to Entrepreneur, which is the wine that we looked at, which we will be dropping through the Maison Way collaboration, but also the tokenization of, for example, vineyards that Tobias mentioned before. So I would say that that's how we differentiate us from the competition. But then when we look at competition, we also, of course, take into account regular wine e-commerce platforms that are distributing fantastic wines. But what we want to do different in comparison with them is that we want to make it less intimidating to collect wine or to invest in wine, because when you go onto these platforms today, it can be quite hard to navigate. You don't really know where to start or what budget you should use. So with Farandole, we really want to make it a destination to learn more about wine if you are a beginner, or to indulge in exciting content if you are a connoisseur.
Okay. My other question is, I noticed in your presentation that you obviously kind of attach a chip, right, on this wine, so it gets compromised when you open it. So if I, for example, I'm a fine wine collector, so that means to say that I have to bring the wine to you guys, or do I have to attach it myself? Like, how does it typically work?
Like when we are selling wine, which is directly from the producer is already attaching the NFC chip, and as long as the wine is trading on our platform, we keeping the wine with us, so it's not shipped to the consumer. But they can, if they want to, request that, for example, if they want to drink it at some point, they can request that they get the wine delivered. But then we basically burn the bottle NFT, which is linked to the real asset, and the consumer just receives a collectible NFT, which they can display that they have drank this kind of bottles, but it's not linked to the physical asset anymore. If we have wines which are coming from collectors directly, let's say like secondary market wine, obviously they have to bring the wine to us, and we would have to verify the wine, check the quality, and then attach as well our supply chain solution to it.
Fantastic. So we have a question from Veronica. Veronica, do you want to ask this question out loud?
Yes, sure, I can. I heard that you may have some membership cards, and I was wondering how we could get it, and how is that going to work?
Great question. So for the upcoming collaborations that we will be releasing, there will be a giveaway of membership cards. So depending on which member card you get from the giveaway, you would get a special perk. So we have made sure that every membership card from each collaboration is going to be special. On top of that, we will also have different tiers of a Farandole membership that will allow you to also, for example, get access to different events, of whether they be virtual or physical events that are taking place, but also exclusive product drops. So those membership cards are available for purchase.
Obviously, you can also buy the Entrepreneur wine, and then you will get automatically a membership card. So that's also an option.
How much is that, Tobias? Just out of curiosity.
Chateaus available. As you know, the price range in Bordeaux is quite wide. So you have affordable bottles, and you also have very exclusive bottles. I think we will have a range of all of those on the platform.
Amazing.
Yeah, that sounds good. It sounds like it's more about the community rather than it's about participation, and it's really good.
Yeah, no, I think to emphasize on that, today when brands sell their products on a regular e-commerce platform, they don't really know what's happening beyond that or who their consumers are. So we really want to make sure that we open up this connection so that the end consumers can feedback the brand directly and even ask the brand to produce more of what they want to see out.
Perfect. Well, we have another question from Linda. Linda, would you like to ask a question live, or would you rather have
Sure.
me read it?
Thanks,
Amazing.
Linda. I'd be happy to say it
Perfect.
directly. No, very, very interesting. I'm just interested in where you see the wine industry going, because this is something new to me in the wine industry specifically, that, you know, I have a number of friends who are wine collectors, but they're going through the normal cumbersome routes. And I was just wondering when you know, if you really want to get the most coveted wines, when will you need to go through the NFT route?
I mean, as you mentioned, we are still very early stage. So let's say probably this year will be the first year where you will see lots of NFTs linked to physical assets. And it's a lot of producers trying out this new segment. So for sure, they will not sell all of their production through NFTs. They will never do that at the beginning. So it will be a process probably of many years. We also need to keep in mind that a lot of people who buy wine are not familiar at all with blockchain in general, right? So for them to get a wallet and buy NFTs which are linked to the wines they want to have, it's quite a complex thing. So it will take some time, obviously, to reach let's say that you would have to buy NFTs exclusively, or the wine exclusively through NFTs. I think this is quite a way down the road, but we see potential in that space. We also see that to access the younger generation, which is already on the blockchain, which is in the metaverse, and which also will be interested in wine, because essentially, if you look at the history, people have always been interested in wine, right? So they will need new ways of interacting with brands. And that's, I think, the trend where brands will try out new concepts, will think about how they can engage with these new generations of wine drinkers.
Great, thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Linda. We have another question from Mai. Again, I'll ask the same question. Mai, would you like to ask questions out loud, or would you rather me do it for you?
No, it's okay. Yeah, I can.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for very amazing like very new concept that attach the NFT to a physical asset. So I'm just wonder, because I follow up what the develop team shared just now, like at the moment the consumer, if they want to like consume the portal, then the company will shift the wine to the consumer. But after the wine is consumed, so what will happen to that NFT that attached to that specific collections or that wine portal?
Very good question. So what we are able to do through the NFTs is that we have a physical part and an NFT collectible. So the moment that you decide to consume your product, we burn the physical part of the NFT, and the collectible will remain. So for the very fine and rare wine bottles, as an example, what we can do is we can have the collectible being a nice virtual art piece that you can continue to trade on the blockchain. Or potentially what it could be is, for example, an avatar that once you've consumed your product, you could enter in the metaverse with to water some wines, or even drink wine from a beautiful wine fountain.
Thank you for your response.
Amazing. Thanks, Mai, for that wonderful question. Okay, anyone else from our audience who would like to ask more questions?
I actually want to ask, have you guys officially launched the marketplace to be trading? And also, I know a separate question, which is always difficult, and is I know actually like some sort of interested investor always skeptical about how do you verify like authenticity, you know, because wine is a bit like diamond, you know, okay, is it true? Is it 18 karat and whatnot? What kind of questions have you guys received actually from investors or people who are interested, I think, in the area? So the two questions are, yeah, like the launching of the marketplace, which because I remember when we last met, I think you guys mentioned it's like these 2 months, I think, is going live. And yeah, and just curious actually what's the feedback in terms of questions about sort of authenticity of the wine or spirit.
Yeah, sure. Well, starting with the marketplace, so we will be launching our version 0 that we call of the marketplace in May. So through the Entrepreneur collaboration that we just mentioned, you will be able to buy the products on the marketplace. And later on, towards the end of June, we will have a sell function, so that enables you to also sell the wine that you previously bought. Auctions will also be available at this point.
Correct.
So for the authenticity, obviously at the beginning, it's an important topic. And at the beginning, we are selling especially wine, which is coming directly from the producer. So they have certified that this wine is coming from them, and you will see that visible on our platform. We have like a grading system where you will see, okay, this wine is like A+++, so it means it comes directly from the chateau. They have verified it, and there's no risk in that sense. Obviously, when you have wine which is coming from collectors, also we cannot know 100% if what happened to the wine before, right? We will do a check on our side, also together with experts, of the provenance of the bottle, and we will assign a rating which is displayed on the marketplace. So then people who are interested to buy, obviously they can assess based on the rating if they would want to purchase the bottles.
Okay, I think that's fair enough. And then I'm assuming, because the platform is global, so anywhere, anybody around the world who can access the marketplace can, because we have friends from all over, like, Satoshi Woman Group, we have people from Europe, from like, all over the place. So assuming it's, it doesn't matter actually where actually sort of people are logging on, and it's kind of global platform, is that right?
That's correct. The only thing is that in order to receive your physical item, you have to be in compliance with local laws and of course above the legal drinking age. So that is just the only, I would say, hurdle in order to get your bottle delivered to you.
Okay, great.
Amazing. Anyone else from audience got questions? Otherwise, oh, Linda, yes, please.
What is the industry specifically doing to educate wine lovers about NFTs, given that obviously they're more interested in, having fine wines rather than necessarily knowing about wallets and everything else?
Probably not very much at the moment, I'm guessing. Is that right? It's so new.
Sorry, just to understand your question, you were asking what the wine industry is doing to educate people about NFTs?
Yeah.
Well, I would say not a lot. It's very, very new to them. But as mentioned before, if we look 6 months back, they were really not interested in discussing this any further. But now they're really understanding all the benefits that NFTs can bring to them. And I think a very important topic that we have yet to mention is the fact that through the NFTs, we will be able to set up royalty fees. So when I, as a producer, sell my bottles to an end consumer, and the consumer decides to trade that product on the secondary market, I will get a royalty fee, so a kickback on each transaction for life. So today, when these fine bottles are being traded through auctions, even though they go for very high amounts of money, the people that have really spent so much time and love creating and making these beautiful wines don't really get a piece of the pie. So to answer your question, they don't do a lot, but I think it's about the big global brands to maybe drive this trend. And as you know, it's all about education. And I think really what we want to do with our platform is that, yes, NFTs are there to support it, but we want to make it a very user-friendly interface that is super smooth. So even if you're super crypto savvy or never have owned an NFT in your life, it should be as smooth for both of these target groups.
Yeah, agreed. Good, thanks.
you guys also, just the follow-up question from Linda's, do you guys also have conversations with existing wine clubs out there? To sort of partner with them and perhaps like run some educational programs just to, provide awareness that this option exists.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, wine clubs are very important. We also want to go beyond that because, again, with accessibility to people, if you are part of a wine club, you probably know where you get your fine wines and spirits at this moment. But of course, there are very important. And if anyone knows of any wine clubs that we should reach out to, please feel free to comment in the chat.
We are also always connecting the digital world with the physical world. So we are doing like events in the physical world, which is basically linking in back to the blockchain topic. So our aim is not just to be like a blockchain project, which is very techy. So it's the idea is to be merged with both of the worlds.
Amazing. Well, another follow-up question, when are you going to do a Satoshi Women event with us so we can do wine tasting and spirit tasting? Very important
And
question.
ideally more than just Hong Kong. We want it
Exactly.
in different parts of the world so that people who are all over can participate.
Exactly.
Well, very soon for Hong Kong for sure. And also we will have ambassadors placed around the world. So currently our team is based between Hong Kong and Paris. But we will have ambassadors throughout Asia and also parts of Europe. So we will be able to realize these amazing events very soon, I hope.
Fantastic. Can't wait for that. Great. So anyone else from the audience would like to ask any questions? Otherwise, please do not forget to follow Farandole in their social media, which is posted on screen. And if not, then, if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure you can slide them a DM in any of these social media channels. But do you have any last few words, Marina and Tobias, before we close this off?
No, it's been a pleasure to be here today. And thank you so much for allowing us to enter this amazing community. We hope that you found this presentation interesting. And as you said, please feel free to reach out to us at any point. We'll be happy to discuss further.
Yeah, absolutely. And Valerie, we are recording this, so perhaps we will, you can find the link either on Satoshi Women YouTube channel or Farandole's or both. So give us a couple of days. Yes.
One last announcement, one last thing. So for those of you who are in Hong Kong, Farandole, team invited to, we're going to have a Satoshi Women drinks on May 11th.
Yes.
We're planning for that. We're waiting, for details, but it will be in a newly open food court called Kin. It's a sustainable, eco-friendly food court, which will have its own bar, has I think between 14 and 16 sort of beer on tap. They have a pizza counter, sushi on rotation, and they do have omakase, although not open yet. So we will be doing drinks there on the 11th. So we will be circulating details. So hopefully we'll see some of you there.
Amazing. And, hopefully we'll also conduct all these drinking sessions, actually, get together sessions. Shouldn't say drinking sessions in other parts of the world.
All above 18. Yeah, I'm hoping actually attendees are all about the age of 18. So I think they should be fine.
Amazing. Well, again, thanks Farandole team and everyone who attended the call today. And I hope to see you again in our next session, and hopefully, in the drinks events. This is it 11th, 5th?
11th, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Okay.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.